Welcome back, Jason Donut. So, we just saw Mad Army make it through to next week's upper bracket semifinals, but looking to join them are none other than Alter Ego Celeste as well as Renatus White in our final best of three series for today. And whew, I think we might have saved the best series for last. How do we feel about this one?
Um, I don't know if it's going to be as close as Mad Army and Liquid Galaxy's games were, but I do think they are going to give us a good show. You're absolutely right, because we've got some very talented players on both these teams. So far today, we've had an Indian team make it through, a Thai team has made it through, a Filipino team has made it through, and now there's like no chance but for a Singapore Malaysian team to make it through. There's like no
Woo!
chance that anything else happens there because both teams are representing the same countries. And I think that fight between Aneri and Kohaibi, it's like this is something that it's not generational, but it's like experience versus like pure raw new talent. So I'm excited to see that fight happen as well.
Well, for both of the teams, it's always AE Celeste that people would want to watch, right? And well, given all of their leaderboard standings, number one would be AE Celeste, and Renatus White has always been that consistent third. But right now, I mean, given the map that we saw, the series that we saw earlier, it's just like they can be overthrown, and they can also lose that spot that they have right now. But looking at Alter Ego Celeste with Tarathiel, Inari, Iceberg, Ayumi, and Margot in the picture, and even Oreo there, really playing yesterday. We saw how dominating they can be. I mean, all of the top teams right now got a 2-0, but they can be defied by the team of Renatus White.
Yep, for sure. I mean, Tarathiel, the original Ray's queen, also Iniri, I think before this weekend, she had something like a combined 66 MVPs across the entire FSL Valorant circuit up to this weekend. There's a squad of Renatus White, Kifredite, MVS, MochiX, Kohaibi, Legit Queen, and Rue. We've talked a bit about Kohaibi as well, of course, very mechanically skilled, also a pretty popular streamer as well on Twitch. She streams a lot of her ranked Valo games. You can go check her out there. Jace, anything else you want to tell us about the Renatus White Squad?
Just an incredibly talented team altogether. To be honest, they're one of the teams that they've been playing non-stop. They don't have a coach, and of course they do have the X factor called Aneri with 66 MVPs. I think 67 now actually might be the case. And Ayumi and Tarathiel, they've been contributing in so many ways, and now Ascent, Find, and Split, three of their best maps, and so far undefeated on those as well. And honestly, just so exciting to see these guys play one more time here. And against Renatus, I think it's going to be very interesting.
Yep, I think we're in for a treat as well because for Alter Ego Celeste, I mean, of course, FSL Elite, we had three different ways of qualification. The first was to be make it into the top three on the leaderboard during the 6-month-long FSL Valorant circuit, which, of course, Alter Ego Celeste, they won literally all 6 of the FSL Open. So it's actually been about more than a month since we've last seen them because most of the rest of the teams had to qualify through overtime or wildcard. But as you see on your screens, we've got the map picks up on there for this best of three. It's going to be Haven, Split, as well as Breeze if the series does go to a third map. And just straight out the gate, how do we feel about these map picks?
Well, Alter Ego yesterday, it seems like on bigger maps, they do get closer fights. We saw them against TC Rise, and on Icebox it went to a 39. It was a really close scoreline. And so going on to Haven might be not their cup of tea, but looking at Split, undefeated may still be the case today as well. But Renatus, they're not pushovers. They are some of the talented girls here, and they may be able to. I mean, they've also got Split as well as one of their best maps. I don't know what the reasoning behind the Haven pick. Maybe just because they know that those bigger maps don't really favor AE Celeste as much. So maybe that's the reasoning behind that. But I think we could get a third map, but I'm still leaning towards AE Celeste getting that 2-0.
Yeah, I
Donut, what do you
definitely
think?
have to agree with that. In terms of Haven, really, I've seen these girls really perform well in this map, and it's going to be about the team play. And right, I mean, during the interview yesterday, they mentioned that there's slight. I mean, the team of Renatus White, they have to work on their comms. They have to be coordinated in terms of this push, and having those three sites inside that map really gives them that edge if they really want to improve on that coordination.
All right, well, it looks like we're going to head into Agent Select right now. And also, interestingly, one thing we talked about in most of the previous FSL Opens is that for Alter Ego Celeste, interestingly, they do run a 6-person roster, so they don't really have any girl that is really the sub. Which 5-man that they do field kind of depends on which agents and which maps they're going to play at that time. So this time it's going to be Terathir, Oreo this time, Iceberg, Iniri, as well as Ayumi. Anything standing out for either of you so far?
Ayumi's hovering on Yoru, and there's no way. There's no way. Not on Haven. We're not seeing a Yoru today. Sorry, folks. That is just a bait, and it is going to be a switch. And there's the switch KO, a possible pick actually.
Ooh.
We have seen a lot of KO picks. There it is, locked in.
Wow.
And well, on the other side, it is looking pretty standard. That Cypher, always a good choice. And I do prefer Cypher when it comes to Haven, because you've got information without having to be in the site, and I think that's very useful to have. So yeah, I think those are sweet picks. It actually looks about the same as Enigma Galaxy versus Mad Army.
All right, well, before we hop into game, I have to ask, what are your predictions for this one? Which team is going to take it? What's the score going to be? Donut, you want to start us off?
Yeah, well, looking at the picks, at least for map number 1, I'm interested to see the KO come into the picture. And right now with the meta, they're trying to really revolve it around KO. So I would have to say at least map number 1 will go to Alter Ego Celeste. And then the following maps, probably Renatus White has a fight in them. So I'm going to say 2-1 in favor of AE.
Ooh, Jace?
I already gave my prediction, but my cat just gave one as well. That was a 2-0 for AE Celeste. So my apologies for that, but yeah, 2-0 AE Celeste. I'm pretty confident in my choices.
Whew, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with AE Celeste on this one as well. I don't think anyone who's been watching just any competition from FSL this entire year would ever take a bet against the AE Celeste squad. But guys, here to bring you all the sweet action for the next couple of games are none other than Kendrill as well as Donut. Ladies and gentlemen, take it away.
Oh my god, the cat. Jeez. But you know what? That actually says something, because cats don't, if they don't like you, they're not going to approach you. So, he's a pretty cool guy. But whatever it is, the game has started, and I'm already so hyped for this KO pick coming in from Ayumi. I believe she's gotten quite a bit of information. You see the ping coming out from Inari as well. So they're trying to play around this. Inari putting herself in this off angle at the same time. Ayumi going in to kind of get further information, maybe go in for a tap or two. But Donut, yeah, I mean, what's going to happen next? You see the heads starting to pop off.
They're not scared about those nades that Koivi is throwing. It's just gonna be raw aim here, contributed to us by Ayumi and as well as Inari. So that's gonna be a scary crossfire right here. But right now, it's gonna be Mochi getting that kill, equalizing the situation to a 3v3. And now that Recon Bolt at least will catch this Iceberg move forward. But right now, there's gonna be Legit Queen winning that duel. A rare opportunity that happens. But at least Ophelia has an omen. She knows where the last one is, but Aphrodite again with that clutch, proving to us that during the pistol rounds or whatever rounds it may be, Aphrodite is clutch for Diety.
She is clutch for Diety indeed. Just knowing that her opponents are going to be around that corner, she stays still, crouched with her frenzy, peeks out at the right time, and finishes things off so clean. So Renatus White right now 1-0. They've got the pistol round, they've got the Spectres this time, and at the same time, Alter Ego Celeste going to put up a bit of resistance against this. You see Ayumi going into this with a Sheriff. Nope, actually she swapped it off back to the Classic.
Yeah, they need the credits for the third round, but right now it's gonna be envious here. Really dashing in through this A site. There was a stack here by the team of AE towards this C site, but I mean, there's nobody here. This is just gonna be a free plant right now for the team of RTS, and given their positions right here, I mean, this is gonna be scary. If a KO throws that suppression, then maybe the rest of the team of RTS, they can be caught off guard. They just have to really spray them down.
Well, they're gonna have to try at the very least, but Legit Quinn has kind of donated her Spectre up towards them, so they're gonna get that pickup. Just how effective that's gonna be, though, I am not entirely sure. And Aries definitely gonna try. She pops in with the classic right clicks. Unfortunately, Kohibi is good to spray them down. That's a quick double. Mochi gets a double as well. All that remains is Iceberg, who will not be able to do much after all. So winning this round will be Renatus White as well. Now, this is kind of what we expected, but the one thing that you got to point out is the fact that economic damage has been done. Losing 3 players on round number 2 is not really something that you want, because you're not going to be able to buy back in with full onto this bonus round. And at the same time, you know, you got to consider, do you want to save? Do you want to force it? Do you want to go for, I don't know, weapon, armor, no utility, or like slightly weaker weapon, armor, and some utility? It seems like they're just going to save up with the sheriffs.
Yeah, but right now it's going to be what, rifles for the side of AE, but is it going to be enough for this buy now for RTS? Because, okay, even though they were just holding the pistols, they were still able to get 3 heads out of the picture for RTS. So this should be such a careful round for RTS, because they need to be able to get those kills first before they enter. But right now, the B site is up for their taking, and this is going to be a quick plant here by this Jet, but at least there are trades right now in this B site. But Kuhaiti is going to get two headshots for her. She still has that refresh nade for her to use, but Oriophilea, what can she do? She already gets 2 already, and Neri's just waiting it out. But Kohaiti, better weapon with the Spectre. She's just gonna use the spraying and praying that she always does best. She spots out Oriophilea, but Oriophilea, she's very reserved about this push. She does have that Shrouded Step, but no more Paranoia for her to use.
Oh, no.
Right now, it's gonna be Kohaiti here, picking up that Vandal. But what else can she do? Well, Oriophilea gets that kill, but there's no more time for the defuse, and Legit Queen finishes things off a 3-2-0 now, not what we expected at all.
Definitely not. I mean, this is an incredibly strong start for Renatus White. I've got to point out, they did win against Arakat Aresta yesterday on Haven, 13-1. And this might be why this is their favorite map right now. This is their map pick. They actually stand a chance at, you know, pushing us into possibly a 3rd map. I mean, I don't think they're going to win Split, to be honest, because Alter Ego Celeste was insane on that one. But this is already such a strong start. You see how incredibly sharp Kohibi is, not just with a Vandal, even with a Spectre, she pushes us out into those really tight corners, and she's actually able to land those flicks. So this time around, she's trying to pull off something different. In towards A they go. You've got the Boombot to already clear out all these corners. Yumi, without the best buy, she's going to have to hang back. And unfortunately, a little bit of damage is all she's good for. Neri will be able to connect 1 headshot, though, so now the spike gets planted, and they are just hanging tight, waiting for the retakes to come in. They know that Alter Ego Celeste doesn't have the best guns.
Yeah, but they were still able to get that kill. And right now, the team of RTS, they're going to be ready for the showstopper. Gets nobody at this point, but at least these pistols are making it happen. Envious gets 3 already for this post-map, but it's going to be Oriophilea getting that kill against Envious. Envious didn't know that she was coming from that direction, and this is now the first score on the board for AE.
With a Yahoo Thrifty as well. I mean, they came into this round with not much, but maybe, you know, sheriffs or pistols somewhere. They actually picked up a couple of rifles along the way, and off of that, they've managed to make this work. I mean, you got the opening picks, but once they started streaming into sight, they just made quick work of whatever Renatus had left. And right now, full buys all across the board, and Neri back on the operator. It's going to be a tough ride for Renatus White. I don't know what their plan is going to be, but you can expect it to be an aggressive one.
Yeah, I mean, Neri is really good with those pickups, especially holding these types of angles, but she does miss that shot. A rare picture that we just saw here. But at least now, and Envious knows where Inari is, but Ayumi wasn't ready for the trade. Right now, that was just a free kill for RTS. No more operator into play now for the team of AE.
This is pretty uncharacteristic of an area. I don't expect her to drop frags or miss op shots like that. So even without the dash, she's gonna get caught by Envious. And now that they've read some sites are weaker, let's commit in towards C. They're going in hard, and they make the trades happen. Kfradadi will be able to support her teammates in that way. So Cosmic Divide up as well just makes it even more difficult. Oreophilia this time getting a little bit too inquisitive, pushes past it, and she's gonna get punished by Kohibi. All that's left is Iceberg holding on to this operator. She definitely wants to save it. It's such an expensive thing, and used correctly, incredibly valuable as well. So, I don't know. I mean, do you think hiding around B is the best call?
Yeah, well, right now the team of RTS, they're respecting this save at the moment, so they're not really out aggressively for that hunt. So I guess there is a little bit of a reposition here for Iceberg. At least that will be a successful save for that operator, but for the rest of the team members of AE, they don't really have enough going into the next round. So this operator has to be magic. I mean, Iceberg, she gets tagged down instead of her tagging down. Ooh, that was just, I mean, my heart raced for a little bit there because I really want them to save that operator.
Yeah, well, thankfully they will be able to hold on to it even longer. Interestingly enough, I mean, you'd think they would give it to Neri, but Ayumi's going to hold on to it for the time being. So maybe they're going to pass it off to each other during the round, who knows, but making it land towards B, I think, towards mid, is a good call. You get to lock out mid window if anyone tries to peek it. At the same time, you've got Inari who has the Blade Storm. That is why she didn't want the op this time. She's going to push herself up in towards the off angle position, maybe play up close and personal. Who knows how accurate her flicks can be this time. It's going to be good for the first one, but Kohibi instantly replies. Blade Storm gone. And now they've managed to create a little bit of mayhem, but that's only one frag. RTS can still recover. In fact, Mochi X towards the C site. This is a big opening, but the spike's headed towards A.
Ooh, she even gets the third already. Imagine. And Asher doing the entries, but Iceberg, it's gonna be punishing that run for. But now Kohibi, she's really doing the job here for the team as well. I mean, as that Raze, you would really imagine all of the satchel plays, but right now she's really being careful about the utilities that she's using. She's using it methodically, which is, I think, a better play instead of those flashy satchel plays that we're seeing usually. Kohibi, though, I mean, in terms of the use of that showstopper, it didn't necessarily convert any kills. I think that was round number 2, but right now, in terms of the rest of the team members of RTS, they're making it happen, especially with Mochi's 3K earlier.
I know, and right now, Kfradadi has her Hunter's Fury. She can use that to create some openings. These girls are suddenly showing up, especially on this map. It's like a battle of opposites. For those who don't know, Alter Ego Celeste, they have constantly banned Haven for most of their map vetoes. It's one of the maps that they don't play that often on, although they do have a positive win percentage on it, 67%, that's right. They've only played it 3 times across all the FSL Opens, out of which they won twice. So it's still something that, I guess, maybe it is their weakness. It's the dent in their armor that RTS are looking to break open, and it certainly could be it. I mean, looking at this scoreline, 5-1, now they're breaking in towards the A site. Alter Ego Celeste are not stationing anyone on the site itself at all. It seems like they're actually losing confidence, so they're falling back, trying to make some plays around Heaven, around A-Link, and I don't know if they're going to be able to find anything. For now, denying the spike plant with the Hunter's Fury, but they're just dancing around this.
30 seconds left.
And Neri even gets that first pick off against Legit Queen. But right now, even that suppression and even that ult now from that KO, he's gonna get two with that flash peek. Amazing there by AE. That retake was just beautiful. They managed to use that Hunter's Fury. It misses, but that ult from KO was just stellar. And even that blind Wow.
Flawless.
And that is the strength of KO. Stand by to get some because this is a secret lab flawless. Alter Ego Celeste, that is why I guess they didn't want to position themselves on A at all. They kind of just want to roll out the red carpet, let Renatus White get the plant in. Once you're stuck there, KO goes in with his null command. You get locked out. There's no way you can dash. There's no way you can use any form of utility to give yourself a tactical advantage, and that allows her to push up front along with her teammates. You saw how strong that flashpoint was as well. They were caught square in the face, completely blind. In fact, they kind of lined up for her double spray as well. So this time around, RTS might just need to reconfigure some of their strategies because they need to consider the fact that Alter Ego Celeste are pretty darn good at playing retakes as well.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that earlier, and right now they're a little bit reserved. They're playing these default positions right now, just really making sure that there will not be any push here by the side of AE, but that's gonna be Mochi down with Ayumi with that peak. And given that, there's going to be that neural theft as well. So right now, all of the positions of RTS is compromised. So now they know, well, they're well aware where they currently are, so they've stacked up that defense in terms of the B site. So, and Neri, she'll be ready for maybe a satchel play here, but no, she gets tagged down through that smoke, and that presence is detected now. But again, that dart. I mean, this is gonna be the beautiful plays that we will be seeing from KO now. It's not just going to be about the flashes, but it's also the information given.
I mean, they might have gone and given information back and
30
forth, but the
seconds
best
left.
thing that happened in all of that exchange was Kohibi just using the paint shells, using a little bit of gunfire and footsteps noise to bait them into rotating and staying on the B side. Meanwhile, her teammates just pushed up into A. They got the spike down now, and they are ready for this post-plant play. Now just waiting and pinging out heaven. They hear the dash coming in. Envia's going in for a bit of a spray. She gets a quick double, a triple now. Looking for the four, she gets it, but Oreophilia shuts that down real quick. 9 HP. She's looking for the remaining members, but she knows she's so low as well. And Kohibi just surprising her from the back. This girl will do it all. And now Renatus White at a 6-2. They've got a strong lead, Donut.
Yeah, that was such a strong, and this one right here, I mean, they had no controller going in this A side, so there was not much cover that they can actually get through this. So that's the reason why Envious was able to get at least a few kills, but it wasn't just enough for that. It was just really perfect timing for Kohibi with that flank. I mean, the rest of the members as well of RTS, though, they were scattered around the map in a way that it would be smart. I mean, the spray down there by Envious was just stellar, and now okay, she doesn't have the Blade Storm now because of that suppression from the KO. A beautiful dart there. I mean, if that came from Garage, that means they really learned the light up, so they're ready for any type of retakes possibly using this KO.
It's pretty good. But right now, it's just good for a little bit of information. The one thing I want to be aware of, though, is Inari's operator presence on the C site that locks it out completely. Unless RTS are somehow able to jiggle and make her whiff her shot, it seems like they're going to try to make a push towards the A site instead. But that one is heavily fortified by Tarathiel's utility. You got all these tripwires, the cyber cages as well. She's managed to spot out one, but unfortunately for her, they've already backed off. The cyber cages and the satchels will allow Kohibi to go in, and all of a sudden, smoke's gone. Tarathiel tries to find something, but will not be able to get anything for the time being. Spike has been planted. Renatus White are just setting up for the same post-plant positions, hiding in the corners, waiting for those dashes to come in. They're using the off angles in case an area tries to dash in or something, but I don't think she should be. She's got an operator. Instead, it's going to be a Yumi who starts things off by walking in. Oreophilia Iceberg Tarathiel just falling apart. What's happening to Alter Ego Celeste? It's another Secret Lab flawless for Renatus White.
We did not expect this from RTS. The way that they hold their post-plant positions is just amazing. I mean, each of them are holding an angle, and they expect, of course, the KO to come from CT because of all of the mollies that were thrown, and as well as the darts. But the rest of them, they just hold their ground. They're not letting AE get through the site and even get a fake defuse or anything. This is something beautiful from RTS right now. And given all, maybe they really picked Haven for a reason, because how coordinated they are right now, AE doesn't read them as much and as well.
I know, right, Donut? I mean, looking at how the map plays out, it seems like Alter Ego Celeste are just trying to react of whatever whatever Renatus White throws at them. And sometimes it goes off a little bit slower than you'd expect. In the past, they reacted so quick, but this time around, the Cosmic Divide is just this big wall that they can't break past. At the same time, they don't have the best guns, so they're being extremely cautious and extremely hesitant about pushing in. In fact, it's gonna be the Blade Storm right now that's doing it for Inari. She's able to get a quick triple, but Kohibi shuts that down. A triple for herself as well. 8-2 towards the end of the first half. What is happening?
I mean, right now we're 10 rounds in, but Kohibi with 16 kills already. Wow, I mean, I know that we expected so much from her, but right now she's proving why, of course, the panel would really say there is going to be at least a little bit of a favorable situation for RTS. And I think Kohibi is one of those reasons. I mean, she's been skilled from the very beginning and at other games, and right now her as that raise so powerful, but at least Inari is gonna get both of the duelists of RTS right now.
Yeah, starting to warm up in the server. Her flicks are starting to get sharper. Still though, Tarathiel now using a little bit of that chaos, sneaks herself up in towards mid cubby where Kiefer doesn't quite expect her, so the spike being dropped just means that this round is over for Renatus White. Not unless they somehow are able to find more picks, retrieve the spike, and head to another. Like, I could go on with this list for a long time. It just means that there's so much for them to do that off of those opening picks, it's going to be a secret lab flawless for Alter Ego Celeste. Now that they're starting to warm up, I want to change my tune and say that Renatus White stand a chance at making it a 9-3 first half, but Alter Ego Celeste could turn it into an 8-4.
Yeah, especially with how they would attack. I mean, Renatus White is very well coordinated right now, but we've seen AE really play on that attack. The way that they would push on towards the site, especially with that KO, everything timed, is going to be something scary for RTS. But I do have to agree with you that this might be a 9-3 right now. Given all of given this first kill now by Envious, at least Iceberg is gonna trade her out, and Ayumi here already. The third one for Ayumi right now, peek her, and you're dead. And right now that's just going to be legit Queen, all in her lonesome. What can she do? Of course she does have the utility available for her, but you're up against 4 members of AE Celeste, so she has to play this smart.
I don't know what that was from Ayumi, but she's still watching this angle. If she gets this, it is truly going to be the target-rich environment for the girl, but unfortunately, it's going to be legit Queen that outplays her with a quick strafe shot. Still though, the spike has been dropped towards the back of mid window. She goes in to use her corpse, uses the neural theft to get further information, picks up the spike now. Now that she's seen where the Alter Ego Celeste players are positioned, she might be able to head towards a single site and try to break past it. But, that's the thing about the neural theft. Information only lasts for so long. After a while, they can rotate around and maybe even double stack. But the fact that they've got 3 players remaining means that each and every single one of these sites should be pretty secure. In fact, Iceberg right now, she's just going to go for the shock dart lineups. Let's see this. Is it going to land? It's raining from the skies. But no, legit Queen narrowly dodges them. Spike being planted now means it's going to be a retake. She wants to put her tripwire down, but she's afraid of giving her position away. Now they know she's under hell. They're pushing in along with the paranoia. Simple leapfrog. You push in, I push along with you, and we will be able to play off each other's contact. So Alter Ego Celeste making this an 8-4 first half.
Yeah, the first half, very unexpected from the team of Renatus White right now, and they might be more powerful in terms of that defense. But right now, it's really Kohaibi getting those kills. But the moment that the team of AE shuts them down, it was just really Ayumi as that KO, getting those 3 kills
Oh yeah.
and leaving legit Queen all alone. I mean, that was just really the impact of those peaks that they would do early on. Usually, okay, Kohaibi would shut them down, but at that moment, they didn't expect that KO would be there. Ayumi would be there getting that 3K.
That's 100% true, Donut. I mean, we love our multi-kills, but those 3 were the most impactful ones that allowed Alter Ego Celeste to come in with this big advantage in that round. But you know what? Enough of that. This is the second half. Now that they've swapped sides, Alter Ego Celeste are on the attack. Is it going to be something that they're more comfortable on? I'm not too sure, but for now, it doesn't seem like they've got much information at the same time. Aldrone went in towards sewers. It doesn't see anything. At the same time, Kohaibi trading a little bit with her boombot. It's not going to get much either. What you got to look out for right now, though, is the fact that you've got 2 players from Alter Ego Celeste trying to break into B. And that's a sight that nobody looks out for.
Yeah, and they just heard the tripwire there set up by legit Queen. So they have a little bit of a reservation. They go towards the garage part of the map as well. But there's also that wire. So I think they just really have to make this a fast push once they do destroy that tripwire. But right now, okay, they've been signaled by this. Okay, the trapwire is destroyed, but right now it's gonna be a crossfire between Mochi and legit Queen. But Ayumi and Tarathiel make it happen in terms of this
30 seconds
entry,
left.
and right now that's gonna be a 3v4. But their post-plant positions are very far off, so they just really want to use this.
No.
But the good thing, because they don't have any smokes anymore, so this is just going to be really about pure aim.
Pure aim, perhaps, but you can tell that Envious has heard every single bit of movement in towards C-Long. She knows that they're there, and instead they're just going to play this out from the mouth of C-Long instead. Kohaibi will be able to push up front, trying to do a little bit of damage, but now it's all up to her. She swaps to her Ghost. But at this range, and with the amount of players that are trying to deal with her from Dragon, she's going to get overwhelmed. So, pistol round this time goes towards Alter Ego Celeste.
Yeah, I loved what they did, that they just really wanted to play back because there weren't any controllers available. They took down the Astra early on, Mochi, so there's not much that they can do in terms of really coverage. The Jet was still alive, but again, it was a pistol round, so there's not much that they can do. Maybe a little bit of an investment for the Cloudburst, exhausted already, so that wasn't necessarily used by Envious for that specific round. But right now, the team of AE, they want this revenge. They want the lead back in their favor, and they want to push towards this B site. The good thing about this is RTS. There are 3 people guarding this B site right now. So, okay, once that dart really popped off, it detected Envious and the rest of the team members of RTS. So they slowly back away.
Still, I think they really, really want this win. They're being extremely cautious right now, paying a lot of respect to Renatus White. In the past, it would be a simple just push and overrun them, but this time around, just waiting for them to put themselves out of position. Legit Queen somehow gave them an opening pick in towards the C site, and
Spike
that just means the
planted.
spike gets planted. At the same time, you've got Tarathiel lurking over by Garage. This could be devastating if they don't check that corner.
But Tarathiel hears the footsteps, at least gets Kohaibi, but there are 2 people there. She's gonna be ready! All of them dinks and a headshot, but right now, triple for Tarathiel. They now back away because there's not much time, but Aphrodite is late to the party, and right now, what she has to do is maybe get these exit frags. But that camera won't be able to spot her out. She just spots out Iceberg and the rest of the team members who gets a kill against Tarathiel, but Oreophilia is there to save the day. An almost flawless round for AE.
Almost, but it got denied, and I guess that's that one thing that Renatus White can take to kind of reward themselves with, like, hey, you know, we didn't get flawless, at least not in the second round. But okay, here's the thing, Donut. With the agent composition that Renatus quite has.
Enemy
You know, the
remaining.
Cypher, the Raze, Astra, Sova, Jet. It seems pretty good, but how does it fare on the defensive side? I don't know how effective the Astra can actually be unless they play around it.
Yeah, we haven't really seen that from RTS, especially, I mean, the utilities of Astra, they're quite expensive. So maybe a combination of that Gravity Well and some Pain Shells will be able to give them that advantage. But right now, I mean, Envious has that advantage of that peak against Ayumi, so no more KO in the picture for AE. And Envious is out for more spots out Inari, but Inari dashes away, but repeaks to get that kill against Envious. So right now, we're seeing a little bit of a hurt now for AE as Inari is so low and Iceberg is half HP, but the rest of the team members of RTS are very, very happy and healthy. And this crossfire setup between Kohaibi and Gifredite might be something that's scary when they come in, when the team of AE come in this A site.
Well, it's not going to be a crossfire for long. Kohaibi seems to have other designs in mind heading towards the B site, so that's A-Link area-ish. She has one paint shells. Kfredite spent a recon vault, didn't get much information. But okay, so that works too. You know, just peek out a sewer, get a quick double kill. Tarathiel will be able to trade, but they've lost players in the process. Spike will be downed, but I don't know how they can hold this. Both sides have rifles. Both sides have armor.
Yeah, but what's powerful here is Oreophilia's paranoia. So once there is contact, I feel like she's gonna whip up that paranoia. But there is that smoke to cover them up. But again, it's Oreo getting that kill, and Tarathiel very quick with that trade though. And right now it's Tarathiel getting these multi-kills over and over again each round. She's really popping off for the team, not just in the defense, but also now in these post-plant situations.
Tarathiel, she's an IGL, and she is fragging out. And this is something that I love watching from Alter Ego Celeste. You know, it seemed like they weren't doing too well at the end of the first half. I was starting to change my tune. I was starting to support Renatus White, you know, got to root for the home team. But they have studied this. They are starting to adapt now that they are on the attacking side. They win the bonus round off of Tarathiel's frags, off of the way they managed to push into the site. You know, seeing the recon bolt, all right, maybe they think no one's here, let's push in. Even with Kfredite getting a quick double, they're just going to continue going. And right now, another opening pick in towards C. They get an opening pick, just find something, back off, maybe head towards a separate site. You know, that's how Haven works. You get an opening pick on C, maybe they rotate over, now you push towards A. They take care of Aphrodite down, and that leaves A open. They're able to push in fully. And then you got Tarathiel lurking over by mid? Big flanks coming up, Donut.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about this is she's not necessarily hungry for those peaks, but right now she at least gets the controller of RTS, and that's a little bit too late now for Kohaibi to watch out for that flank, because Tarathiel, he's going to be joining the rest of the team members, but Kohaibi gets that shot with the Sheriff. Is she able to get another one? We've seen what happen. She does get 3 already with this retake, but she has to be careful about Tarathiel, so now she checks her back, and then
Iceberg?
good thing about that, the Pain Shells is not gonna get anybody. What? She gets another headshot. What? Almost ace and an almost clutch there for Kohaibi, but Tarathiel, she makes it happen for AE.
Who is this girl? What is she made of? You see these flicks, you get the one, and then continuing to tap on, she finds a quick triple. The paint shells to flush Iceberg out of position as well, but even up close, she gets the quick flick. The only one to stop her was Tarathiel, and that's only because she knew and she heard. She had the advantage. Of course she's pushing into me. All I gotta do is spray. But that could have been completely different, and right now, Kohaibi, you know, she used to play nothing but Reyna, but now she's diversifying her agent pool. She's on the Ray, she's on the Sky, and she could go in for even more. Showstopper is at the ready as well if she decides to deploy it. She's anchoring down the B side, rotating back and forth. They're trying to figure out where Alter Ego Celeste want to hit this time. The KO, null command going in towards C. They try to stop it, but unfortunately their utilities have been nullified. They're trying to spray down this one choke point, and thankfully it will work out. And all that leaves is Tarathiel, who's trying to lurk around and push in from B.
Last player standing.
A good effort place for the team of AE to use that null command in terms of the entry, but they were ready for it. Although, yes, we can't use our utilities, but we can use our weapons, and that's going to be Kohibi using the Phantom beautifully to finish off that round. I mean, earlier on, it was an 8-4. AE got 4 straight rounds, but right now, RTS, they don't want to give this lead to AE right now, so I think RTS, they have this fire inside of them. They have to refire that momentum that they had during those attacks and maybe apply it during their defenses. And those crossfires that were set up in that C site, this is what they should be doing moving forward during maybe an A push or a B push that AE would be thinking of.
And that is it. You know, they got to reignite that passion. The crossfires were good earlier on, and they were able to lock down the C site. This time around, they need information about where Alter Ego Celeste are hitting, because it's not a full, easy commitment this time. No more null commands. Maybe they got them from the shadows, but they don't have the best guns. Instead, it's going to be Oreophilia who finds an opening trade on towards Kohibi. Back in towards an equalized situation. They still need to create some form of space. Maybe the A site is the answer right now, because there isn't much resistance towards short or long. They could just rush in along with Anari's Blade Storm. She's trying to find it, but I don't know how good these angles could be, considering the fact that Envious is just hiding right underneath the Radiant Knight. Great, but her teammates will be just as good. Anari unfortunately falls in the midst of that though, so back into towards the 3v3 right now. The spike will go down, and we're in for a big retake.
So she can just reposition towards A long, but she doesn't. She wants to hold this position against the team of RTS. Now Legit Queen gets a kill with that flag against Iceberg. So right now, at least they have that information, but Oreophilia gets 3 already.
That's just one to start it off. She still could be good for even more, but what they've got to consider is that RTS are pushing out from 2 different angles, and it's going to be Mochi X who swings up huge with a quick double headshot to steal the round away. Now we're at a 10-8. She still has her Cosmic Divide, hasn't used it yet. And on the defensive side, that could be big for retakes, or maybe even big just to stall time even longer. Unfortunately, this time they just weren't expecting RTS to push up from all these different positions. You had, I guess, K-Fredite coming in from A-Link. And then you got 2 coming in from short and long. Like, where are you supposed to look?
Right there.
I mean, right now, I mean, the operator was just taken away from them. I mean, Oreophilia just really wanted to push. Okay, I'm not gonna lose. I mean, I'm not gonna lose that much because I only have the Spectre. But the Spectre did well for the team of AE. But right now, it's gonna be envious again with this operator. Is it gonna be enough though? I mean, there was a jiggle peak, but there's that flash again to displace the team members of RTS there, who's guarding that C site. But they have to be also careful about Mochi's position though, because right now she's just really waiting there in that corner.
Oh, there she is. Unfortunately for Envious, it's not going to be the operator that does the trick, but instead it's going to be Mochi X as well as Kohibi, who just continues to swing again and again and again. She's getting all of these frags. Unfortunately, she got traded as well, but that leaves Oreophilia, the last one standing, and K-Fredite, knowing her position, will just push in to finish off that round. 11-8, Donut. Are we going to see match point?
Yeah, probably match point, because, I mean, this defense now for RTS, at least AE, did well in terms of their attack. How coordinated they are in terms of the push. Yes, they were able to get 4 straight rounds, but RTS, they're answering back. They're reading AE's push like a book, because maybe they're well familiar. Maybe they did their VOD reviews. They really are prepared for AE right now. Because it's like every time there's a rotation for AE, if there's a fake, they know where they would really go. So it's, if they don't really push towards A, then maybe it's a C site. And they're set up, again, these rotations of RTS, like, there are now 4 people guarding this A site, but at least they know they have, I mean, Ineri has that null command. So they're just gonna give this away. Not much to do though in terms of the retake, but at least there is going to be that Cosmic Divide and that Blaze-Storm ready for RTS.
You know what? We were talking about all these different ultimates, but legit Queen just has that perfect spy cam spot, Donut. She sees everything. Now the Cosmic Divide goes up to block off A short as well as A long. But all the players from Alter Ego Celeste, or at least most of them, are just hiding right underneath Hell, and they're actually able to stop the push from coming in. Of course, we're watching Tarathiel from the back as well, but right now, it leaves Kfredidi alone to push up front, and that's gonna be it, because it's an easy trade for them. They have that numbers advantage. Alter Ego Celeste, you know, even with a bit of disadvantage in terms of weaponry, they're gonna get that Yahoo. They are going to get whatever they can because they are that good. You cannot give them an inch because they will take that mile. Do not let them get the spike planted.
Yeah, I mean, that was a thrifty round for AE. It just really goes to show that now that they have these rifles getting into this round, they can be able to get that win. But right now, it was just really that null command, giving them that space, and as well as those post-plant positions. Right now, they're going towards the C site, and looking at this, Ineri is dashing in, and she's gonna get Ineri in that situation. Wachi didn't even care to peek, because Ineri just saw everything. And right now, there's gonna be that plant, a successful one here in the C site, and the rest of the team members of RTS, they're a little bit late to the party, but right now, I think, are they up for a save, or they're just really waiting out any type of aggression from AE? Oh, okay. So they are just really going for that, but Ineri holding that same position is gonna be punished there by Kohybe, and right now, this is what, a 4v3 retake for AE and Kohybe. She's gonna be ready for this trade down, but it's gonna be Oriovelia springing them down. It's gonna be legit Queen just really clutching this out, but no, that's not gonna be possible because Tarathiel is gonna respond.
The Phantom strikes again, just through the Cyber Cage, through whatever kind of utility that you might have at that one choke point. Just because I don't have tracers, I'm gonna spray and pray. And somehow, whatever religion is, the universe will reward me with 2 kills, and that is Oriovelia coming up huge. Even with the trades from legit Queen, she's only good for 2 more, and right now, Alter Ego Celeste are starting to claw back into this game. 11-10, Donut. 11-10.
And right now, they're going back to the A site, and that's only gonna be Envious here. At least she has to play it Storm, but will she be ready for this push? Because the rest of the members now of AE, they are ready for that dash flash play that they are ready for. But right now, AE read them like a book, and that's gonna be such a quick round now. Even with that showstopper, they shut Kohybe down, and 11-11 now. What a quick way to get that win.
I don't know what's going on. Okay, we're seeing Kohybe with a big kill lead. She's the MVP overall, 32 kills, 15 deaths. Ayumi starting, or at least trying to catch up, but this is what I wanted to see, the scoreboard in terms of rounds won and lost. Alter Ego Celeste somehow have been able to claw back at the end of the first half. They were at a disadvantage, maybe 8-4, which is not too bad. But now they're winning 7 rounds. They're coming back in. It's 11-11. They could be the ones to steal this away from Renatus White. Renatus White had this as their map pick. They were supposed to win it. They had such a strong start, but all of a sudden that has gone awry just because Alter Ego Celeste are making great plays, proactive plays on the attacking side, Donut.
Yeah, they've learned their lesson. They've been losing these rounds to RTS. Putting a halt in terms of the momentum, but right now they're answering back. I mean, AE, they really know how to get that A site, get that C site, but I mean, they're now a little bit careful because they want to secure match point for themselves, and that's going to be the drone here, not spotting out Envious. So Envious now has an opportunity, but she doesn't necessarily get that kill. She let 3 people pass her by, but only gets 1, so at least Kohybe is going to be there for the trade. And right now, that's going to be Kfredidi shutting down that ult from Ayumi. Ayumi, but Tarathiel, she's really doing wonders as the Cypher right now. So it's gonna be just up to Mochi and as well as Legit Queen. Can they stop this plant? No.
Oh
The
my
answer is
God.
no, because it's just gonna be Legit Queen all in her lonesome yet again. I mean, we've seen Legit Queen in these clutches, but right now she has 3 people that she has to go through a wall that is AE Celeste. Can she be able to do that? She's smoked up. So right now they're just gonna spray her down. She knows where the rest of the people are, so she tries to isolate the duel. She spots out Tarathiel, but Tarathiel is quicker than Legit Queen there. Now AE has match point.
Quicker indeed, the better Cypher this time around, and it's not because of anything, it's just because they have the spike down. She just hides here, expecting her to walk past that cyber cage. Of course that's what she's gonna do, because she's trying to tiptoe in and out of her own cyber cage, trying to create some kind of space. So really, really unfortunate, but that is the strength of Alter Ego Celeste. You saw how they continue to make these plays off of that null command from Ayumi. The strength of the KO pick. It's working out beautifully for them, and RTS hasn't found an answer. Right now, Inari with the Blade Storm. Oreophilia still has her From the Shadows, hasn't deployed it yet. K490 has the Harness Fury. Legit Queen has a Mural Theft, which I don't know how effective that is going to be exactly. They hear the ultimate being spent, so they're trying to be cautious about this. At the same time, you've got little bits of utility all across the board just to get some further information, but none retrieved. The Boombot doesn't see anything.
Yeah, so everything's been slowed down here. AE really wants to get this win. And right now, that's going to be Tarathiel getting the Jet of RTS. So no more of the duelists now into play, except for Kohaibi, who's still up and running. But that's going to be the Hunter's Fury quite early now, because it's going to be just Tarathiel dancing around this to dodge it. But that's all Blues, because it's going to be a C hit right now, and given the Blade Storm, this is going to be quite scary for RTS, because there are just 2 people remaining. It's going to be K490 and Mochi up for this clutch, and 5 people from AE still up and running. And this post-plant position, they just really will play off of the contact. But right now, Tarathiel is going to be there for that flank, gets tagged down to 8 HP. But is that going to be enough? At least there will still be that distraction, at least, because she can just easily go to the Mirage. But it's going to be a Neri here from the head of Mochi and Tarathiel. Perfect timing with that peak. I mean, that was just, what, a secret lab flawless for the last round of that match.
Secret Lab flawless. Last round. You got the Blade Storm, you got everything, and to top it off, Tarathiel just being such a sneaky, beaky ninja, weaving in and out of C-Link, and then back in towards Garage. She wasn't trying to get a frag. I mean, a frag would have been good, but she was just distracting them, buying time off the clock. And this is incredible, because at the end of the first half, you saw it, Donut, it was 8-4. How do they do this? That is the strength of Alter Ego Celeste.
Yeah, they really managed to make the unwinnable winnable for them, and that's really their prowess in the map of Haven. While it was really picked by the team of Renatus White, it was just really AE's raw motivation for each other. I mean, once they got that pistol round, it was all a snowball from there. So, I mean, AE Celeste is not just built on that momentum, which Renatus White is as a team, but they're built off of the strength of each of the teammates, and we saw that there. I mean, in terms of the communication, they play off of each of the contact. They would peek, triple peek, and that's gonna be scary if you're up for that retake. Especially during, I can remember that one round we're in, that was a thrifty round, a Yahoo thrifty. We're in, okay, once there was a piece of utility from Renatus White, all of them peaked at the same time, and just a snap, it was their round.
It's incredible stuff. At the same time, you've got Ayumi who's innovating around, picking new agents like KO. That's all good for Haven, but the next map is going to be Alter Ego Celeste's map pick. Are the panelists going to be correct with their 2-0 prediction? I hate to say it, but maybe you're just going to have to watch and find out, because we're moving in towards split, and who knows what Alter Ego Celeste has up their sleeves this time. At the same time, you hope the best for Renatus White. All the Singaporean and Malaysian fans out there, you have to be in here to watch and support them. They need your energy, so do not go away. Of course, we have our nice Nano Leaf promotions. The code is, the command, sorry, is somewhere in the Twitch chat. At the same time, Secret Lab giveaways. Keep your eyes peeled, but the main thing you want to watch out for is going to be the game after this break.
Is it back in my back? In my back? Alright guys, welcome back to the desk for the Valorant Champions Tour Game Changer Southeast Asian Series FSL Elite. So we had a super close map number 1, and I believe during the game as well, I mean, Quack, you had a lot of thoughts about how Haven is RTS's map, and if RTS didn't manage to win their first map on Haven, then they're probably in for trouble for the rest of this series. Tell us your thoughts.
I mean, thankfully my mic isn't muted, by the way, but
Wow.
I have to do it. But you know what? Split, we've seen how Alter Ego Celeste performed. They went really quick against TC Rise yesterday. We've seen how they perform on this map across all the FSL Opens. I hate to say it, but I don't want the RTS fans to hate me, but I think they're dead in the water.
You take that back. No, I agree, to be honest. I mean,
You take that back.
look at
I
4
don't
of
agree.
the
You
players.
take that back.
look at 4 of them. Over 200 combat score across 4 players there, with such big lead going into that second half.
Almost all
And like
possible
Kahibi had to
games.
drop 33 frags, and that's still not enough. That is still not enough to beat AE Celeste. And that just comes down to the fact that AE Celeste, all of their players can frag out, and all of them know how to work as a
Oh
team.
my god, look at
That
that.
damage different. Even they got more kills as a team, and they have a higher headshot percentage as well. What does that tell you? That's incredible.
I'm about to just like rip off my shirt and you see Alter Ego Celeste painted on my bottom. But you know, that's exactly what we expect to see from Alter Ego Celeste. This is crazy. This was supposed to be Renatus White's map. I've been saying this so many times. They went 8-4 at the end of the first half. They were so good. What happened on the defense? Somehow, Alter Ego Celeste were just able to find fakes back and forth. And the most incredible thing, my favorite thing, by the way, because this is my favorite agent, playing off of a Yumi's KO. This is awesome.
Yep, and that brings me to my next point that I wanted to ask you guys about, which was that AEC went into the half down 8-4, but they came out so strong once that swap was done. I wanted to ask if the panel thinks that this is more of a swap and that AE Celeste did better on that side, or if it's more of that the KO pick was a bit more significant. What do we think?
I don't think it was agent based. I really do think once they switched sides, they were just a lot more comfortable. Because I think they could have picked anyone other than the KO, and I think they still would have gone away with that clincher there. Because it's not like they don't know how to use the other agents, right, to the same capacity. Yeah, so I think in that scenario, it was the side switch where you really saw them come to life.
I guess so. I mean, that it actually makes sense. To be honest, you can see a Yumi playing almost every agent all the time across FSL. She could even play Sky if she wanted to, but you know, with the KO, just a null command giving her that extra life, she gets picked up sometimes, and it works out nicely because she's got an extra life. It works nice, but here it is. It's gonna be split, and this time instead of Legit Queen playing for Renatus White, we've got Rue going in as a sub.
All right, so it did look like we have some pretty standard agent picks. Flew by so fast right there, blink and you miss it. But what are we thinking about that? How do we feel the teams are going to do on split? I mean, Quack, you've mentioned that you think that AE Celeste probably, if it's just down to that 50-50, that they will come out on top. So what are we thinking?
Double duelist. I just want to say double duelist.
Whew. Jace?
Double initiator. Get bent, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, double initiator does work when it comes to split, having that breach available for you as well as your Sova for the information. I think they work in tandem, so you might see a couple of those, and I think that could make a big difference.
All right, well, I can't wait to get into map number 2 to see if AC are going to be able to make this a quick 2-0. We'll find out, but here to join Quack once again to bring you guys the action is none other than Donut. Guys, take it away.
Welcome back.
Ooh.
But I
The Agent Select went by so fast, but it's gonna be Ayumi. Initially, I thought that she was gonna pick up another KO there, but right now she's gonna be that sentinel for the team. So I'm very, very excited because the matchups are quite similar. It's just that the team of Renatus White, they are starting off with that double duelist setup.
hold up a minute. Okay, this is interesting now because I would normally expect Alter Ego Celeste to go in for that Raze Jet combo. This time they're going in, like you said, with that double controller. They've got Astra, you got Viper, and then you've got double Sentinel as well. I think this is inspired of the time that they played FSL and they went with a triple Sentinel of all things. And they actually found out that this was a composition where they're quite comfortable. They're able to control sites so well that they just might be able to rush in and quickly take control and then prevent any form of retakes from happening. Still though, they actually need to create that space first. And right now they're trying to push off of vents where Envious spots out her tall ponytail, narrowly dodging away. Envious will be alive with 40 HP and Aureophilia down to 91.
That right now is going to be a push here towards B. That's going to be just Mochi here using that paranoia, but doesn't necessarily catch anybody else. So at least Mochi gets one, but Aureophilia will be there up for the trade. And right now, that's going to be a beautiful cover here using that toxin screen to try and isolate this position that they have right now. But Rue is in the picture. As we mentioned, she just plays legit queen for this specific map because maybe they do need that Sage here into play. But right now, they're just creeping up. I mean, there was that footstep there by Kfredite, but the rest is going to be history. But right now, it's going to be Kfredite with that peak, getting one with a frenzy, but a Kfredite with a third already, and it's just up to Aneri. We've seen her do magic, but it's not going to be enough because Kohibi, again, as that raise, does magic for the team, and RTS will pick up another pistol round for them.
Talk about magic all the time, Donut, but you know what? Your voice in this one little moment gives me magic because it's so hype. Look at how Kohibi comes in off of that retake. I mean, she's actually able to outduel Aneri. This is off of playing her teammates' contact, of course, but that is what RTS needs just to turn this around. Now that they've got the pistol, I actually feel a little bit of hope. I mean, I need more than that, but it still is good. They're playing on the defender side to start things off, so that's even better. But let's see how Alter Ego Celeste continues off of this. Now they've got that full save going on. Aneri and Terrathiel with their sheriffs, of course. Yumi as well, but I don't know if they're going to be able to find any opening picks unless Mochi decides to get a little bit too curious. She does have her dark cover there to back her up, so Paranoia will chase them away. Do not step into the B site.
Cover going on.
Yeah, and that's going to be another dark cover here by Mochi, so this slows down the push further. So that's going to be cover for at least Mochi, because if she gets spotted out here by Neri using that sheriff, that's going to be scary. Because right now, one shot to the head and maybe Mochi is dead. But they're going to go back to that B site because there's no more paranoia for Mochi to use. So this might be the perfect entry, but dark cover refreshed right now by Mochi, and Ayumi gets a headshot through that wall, but at least Kohibi trays it out using the paint shells. But is that going to be enough though? Because they're still here lingering around B garage, and Kohibi is so ready for this. She still has the satchels available for her to use, but they're just walking, so there's not much information for them to use here. So Kohibi knows that there is that turret, but once that wall goes down, there's going to be that kill, and Kohibi with that spray transfer. Perfect setup that they have there with the Rue. RTS now gets round number 2.
Just exceptionally perfect. You have the paint shells to stop them in their initial push, slow it down even further, and then off of the toxic screen, she actually drops down to push herself into her forward position where she will be able to catch them. And the spray transfer was so good, but at the same time, it's just that initial sharp flick to disable Kfredite's turret. So Now, RTS looking incredibly good, but we've seen what happened on the first map. They need to put forth their momentum. They cannot slow down at all. They cannot give up a single round, because I don't want to think of what could happen if that does occur. Right now, Alter Ego Celeste, they have the full buy, and they are looking to push in towards A. Toxic Screen will go up across the site, and they're actually thinking of going in towards Heaven.
Yeah, but there are going to be 3 people here, and that's going to be Gohaibi. Again, maybe doing that paint shell kills that we saw earlier, but right now they're just slowing down. At least they have the space here near B Heaven towards ramps. But Envious, they never really spotted anybody else because of that toxin screen that beautifully gave them this space. But right now, it's going to be what? A play of contact here by Ayumi. At least if she's the one spotted, they would think this is a flank, but Ineri gets Envious for the first time. And right now, it's going to be Gohaibi for that trade. Ineri, though, doesn't necessarily know where Gohaibi is, but the Boombot does. And that's going to be Ayumi as well with a kill. And what they rotate there, they know that the killjoy is there towards A, and all of the footsteps will tell now Mochi that they're here towards the site. And, ooh, barely catches the head of anybody from the team of AE. And this is going to be a safe plant right now towards this B site.
Just barely. But at the very least, they've gotten information. And at the same time, that wall went up. It was well played by Oreophilia, truly, to just block that off. And Kiefer kind of stuck in that one spot right now, wanting to break it down to maybe clear out Heaven or use it as sort of a vantage point to find even more frags. But instead, she's just going to use it as bait and let them think that she's going to head towards Heaven. Meanwhile, she pushes back towards the grass side, but oh my god, Iceberg with the Vandal just completely vandalizes her body. We're into this with a 1 and 2 standard start, and it's one that I fear because Alter Ego Celeste, you know what they can do off of this.
Yeah, right now they've been winning all of these duels that they would encounter, and the use of the utilities that we saw there from Ineri uses that boom bot to try and get information, and apparently it doesn't just get information, it does convert to a kill. So that's the beauty of a boom bot right there. And when used properly, like how Ineri is doing it, it can get them the round. But right now it's gonna be Gohaibi's boom bot to try and catch any information here towards mid, but it seems a little bit silent, but that's gonna be Gohaibi's kill with the paint shells instead.
I'm not sure what happened. I kind of thought Ayumi would run away, but unfortunately she gets blown up instead. Regardless, it's going to be Tarathiel who lurks around this corner even longer, finds yet another frag, and it's going to be Envious, who was, you know, I guess 3 kills away from her Blade Storm. So 1 rifle gone, 1 less problem to worry about. Are they still going to commit in towards B? It really seems like that's what they want to do because that toxic screen is up there. At the same time, the wall goes up as well. So using it for cover, they want to push in. They've managed to dodge that paranoia coming in from Mochi X. So they should be able to stream into sight safely. But as soon as the wall comes down, the frags will ring true. The trades coming back and forth. And we're back into a 3v3. Spike getting planted down, and that's what Gohaibi was waiting for! Goes in with a showstopper to blow up this party! And 1 player gone now. The spike will not be planted. Paint shells in to delete that player as well, and all that leaves is Oreophilia, the quadra kill for Gohaibi.
Wow, what a 4K there by Gohaibi. It's not just Ineri doing well with these utilities, but how she manages to get the first kill. Okay, she does use the boombot first to try and create space in mid, but how she was able to use that showstopper here, and as well as follow up with the paint shells, gets tremendous cover for them. It just leaves Oreophilia alone, and the spike wasn't even planted. A good delay in terms of the plant. So right now, given that she did have 2 kills, she's what, a few orbs away from getting again that showstopper online.
Oh my gosh. I would hate to think what could happen if there is another showstopper, but the next one that is closest is going to be Ineri. 1 kill is all she needs, and that could be an opener towards pushing into a site. Still though, I mean, they've got to be careful. The slow orb has been deployed to kind of just slow them down a little bit, but the main thing is, this is Alter Ego Celeste. They have mid control. And that is something that you don't want to give them because they can use it to lurk, cut you off on rotates, or at the very least, make some quick adaptation to push into a different site. And that is why you see RTS actually positioned around this one possible play. You got players watching Male Route, you got players watching A Heaven, but they're just walking in towards B Heaven instead, even bypassing the Raptors side of the map. They're going in towards the back, and that's defender spawn. Is that the right call, Donut?
Ooh, I guess it's not because Envious catches the Rathiel off guard, and now Inari has managed to sneak up on them, but that's going to be Kohaibi getting that kill. And Inari, she has to do it all on herself, though. It's going to be Inari catching Envious off guard yet again. What a mirror in terms of that strat, but Oriophilia just to exhaust the rest right now, even though Kfredite is just alone, because, well, we know that Kfredite is that clutch Fredite for their team, so maybe getting that res online was such a good idea. But right now, what can what can Kfredite do? Because she has that alarm, but she also has the turret online right now. But it's gonna be a Neri perfect with that crosshair placement. Kfredite just walks across that.
I mean, that's just how Alter Ego Celeste plays. They go into these positions that you kind of don't really expect. Yes, Envious got the initial frag, but the trade immediately happened after that. Alter Ego Celeste, they don't go in alone. They go in as sisters in arms. If someone dies, someone is usually there to instantly refrag that position. And off of that, just in towards these really deep positions where you don't expect them, somehow, you know, you just get caught in the back, and unfortunately for Kfredite, that was the end of her story in that round. So 2-3 right now, and now they're looking to go explosive. Cosmic Divide to wall off any potential points of vision for Renatus White, and then the showstopper. They're looking for a frag, but you know what? It's just space that's mostly being created off of it. And right now, RTS, they need to wait. They cannot just stream in and try to rush down and retake this, because you gotta be extremely careful about where Alter Ego Celeste can be positioned. It's Iceberg coming in from the back of ramps instantly with a double kill.
Right now, it's going to be Iceberg here. Going to try and control the situation, but it's going to be Mochki here. She's ready for that person towards ramps, but Rue here holding that Sheriff. I mean, with Kohaibi, they've been that duo that's speaking together, but that's going to be Inari just shutting them down. They knew that somebody was behind that wall because it got destroyed, and Inari was so ready for everything that RTS had to offer for that round.
It's just such a well-constructed secret lab, flawless. They built up all those ultimates across all these rounds, and now they use it to secure them the third win. We are at round number 7, and it's a 3-3. Either team could take the lead, but of course, all eyes are on Renatus White because Envious has decided to bring out the big gun, the operator. What can she do with it, though? They're trying to contest for mid, but guess what? Toxic screen up on A, not a single person from RTS defending the site. They could actually walk in. In fact, they're using their lockdown to kind of secure this. But there we go. Kfredite countering it with a lockdown of her own. But does she expect Inari to come back from the top of ramps? Her own lockdown has been dissipated. Ayumi deletes her. And that just spells trouble. They stream up the top of ropes, but Inari quickly dismisses them. That's a quick double kill. Kohaibi getting the information, but no angle, no clear sight, no clear vision in towards A Heaven. I don't think she can find the frags that she wants. MochiX separated from her sister as well. How can they possibly put a stop to this? It's going to be a crossfire setup to delay Inari for now, but the main thing is that the spike has been planted. Kohaibi, I don't know. They might just need to save this out.
I mean, look at that, Ayumi! They line up
like
for
this.
Ayumi! Not like this! Yes, I agree, Renatus White. It was all blown away just because Kfredite did respond with a lockdown of her own, but unfortunately there was that nade. Perfect use of that nade, but okay, followed through with that spray down. But Inari, can we please see that double peek towards Heaven? Because that was just amazing. Every time that she would peek, she gets the head of the team of Renatus White. But right now, I mean, AE, they're looking kind of scary here because the team of RTS, they bought all of the things that they needed last round. The operator, all of the rifles, but right now they don't have much.
Yeah, heavy investment, and unfortunately it did not pay off. So right now, they only have pistols to work with. How do you defend with pistols, though? Either with the Sheriffs, you're going to have to hold some kind of a tight angle, or with the classics, play up close and personal. Instead, you don't need any of those when you have the kunais, the knives that Envious has in her hands right now. They're hovering, and they will fly in towards Ayumi's face. One player gone, knives refreshed. But where did all the other players go? It's going in towards Garage, and this confirms it. But I don't know how they're actually going to be able to retake. Envious does pick up the rifle, which I hope she donates. Yep, she passes it off on towards the hands of Kohibi. This could be big, but still, she needs to make these knives land. Unfortunately, she walks into Tarathio's line of sight, and that's going to be an easy burst for the girl. Kohibi drops as well, and that leaves the two remaining players, K490 and Mochi X, who are only good for that one initial frag. And then Oreophilia strikes back at them. The Empire is starting to come up, Donut. I can feel it.
Yeah, I mean, Envious did get that first kill, but that gave them all the more motivation. I mean, for AE to go towards that B site, okay, you've already gotten mid, but we can still take control of that B site. And them trying to push carefully with that wall and also that Nova Pulse that Astra was able to do at the back of the site, that gave them that entry so that they're sure that even though there's someone peeking, they would get them. Right now, they're going to try and take mid this time.
It would work unless Kohibi and Rue can stop this. They get the instant information, and Kohibi's just watching the angle. She manages to down Tarathio and the spike along with it. Slow orb now just to delay that even further, but Aneri has already retrieved the spike, so she's trying to back out of there. Maybe just watch the angle even further in case RTS tries to push out of that dark cover. Really nice, quick dark cover from Mochi X, though, and in fact, she's doing such a damn good job of anchoring down B. So, Alter Ego Celeste need to find a different avenue of entry. Unfortunately, they're still trying to make the mid plays work, and that is where they get shut down with another Secret Lab flawless by Kohibi.
Wow, what a flawless round for them in terms of that defense. It's just really that combination between Kohibi and Rue. Where was this in the map of Haven? Because Rue right now, really, as that Sage, she really assists everything for Kohibi. I mean, there was a slow. She was able to get a kill of her own, but that wall just stopped them from taking mid. And as well as that slow orb, you can see the two members of AE really back away. So right now, mid is their territory, so they go back. Or AE tries to go back towards this A site. They've had success in this, but right now, there's going to be at least Envious to stop them. Having this off angle, at least, but this toxin screen, so beautiful in terms of the cover.
Yeah, it's similar to the Cosmic Divide positioning that they had earlier on. It just blocks it out completely, allows for an area to push onto site really safely. Unfortunately for them, K490 is going to try to pull off some sneaky sniper plays, but instant trades coming in from Aneri, excuse me, it's just going to happen again and again. Envious, though, wants to fight back. Will be able to take one down. Kohibi trying to make some play from screens. Not good at all. Back into the 2v3 now. And they're just trying to delay the spike plant for as long as possible because it has been dropped somewhere towards the front of elbow. The wall being up kind of slows it down even further, but something that they don't expect was a Yumi to come out from ropes. They do have the information now, though, but can they get the frag? That's a whole other thing. Envious swinging, it just allows for Yumi to pick that off. She already knew where she was positioned. Spike getting planted means extra credits as well. This is Alter Ego Celeste.
Yeah, they may have dropped the spike, but how they were able to recover just through Yumi's flank. Wow, that was just stellar for her in terms of her performance. Everything, every time that people would walk through her crosshair, I mean, they would get killed. But right now, at least, they're fighting back. AE, RTS may have gotten the lead at first, but this is gonna be something that's built on the momentum now of AE. Because, okay, they may have lost mid already, but right now, they're not afraid to take it back again.
It's slightly different this time around because earlier on it was Kohaibi who got the opening pick thanks to Rue getting some early information. This time around, they just walled Mailroom off completely. In fact, they spent one slow orb, which, yeah, maybe it discouraged AEC from pushing up mid, but now they're just heading back towards B. So it's going to be MochiX who goes up aggressive, takes down 2 players. A 2-for-1 trade is not too bad, but unfortunately for them, it's the lockdown that creates quite a bit of space. Envious instantly going back into position to put a stop to this, though. We'll be able to take one down. Rue gets another as well, and that leaves Iceberg. Kohaibi wants to go hunting. Iceberg wants to back away and possibly maybe just get the spike down on a different side, but instead she's going to put a post right outside of Garage. Is RTS going to budge, or are they going to stay on site? What do you think, Donut?
30 seconds
Well,
left.
we've seen Iceberg do some clutch plays as well. It's not just gonna clutch for Deity in these types of situations. So right now they're a little bit reserved because they do need the guns for the next round, but at least they're covering some parts of the map. And
What?
maybe Iceberg can get the kill, but what was that feat?
Okay.
She gets there to react faster than Envious.
Last round.
That is some inhuman reactions if I've ever seen them before. Instantly just peeking out, suddenly seeing Envious, the instant snap to her head. Envious couldn't even click at all, or even anything. I just, what? How? Still though, thankfully, her teammates were there to back her up, so we are at a 6-5, a lot closer than I anticipated. RTS are putting up one heck of a fight, and off of that win, of course, Rifles and Envious back on her operator.
Yeah, Envious just retrieved the operator, but she's not peeking towards mid. It's gonna be A this time, but I'm not sure if she is gonna catch Tarathiel off guard. But right now, it's gonna be another play for mid right here for AE. The wall is destroyed. They're baiting out all of the utilities right now, so at least they don't necessarily have another slow orb. Kohaibi doesn't have the boom bot nor the paint shells anymore. So this is very effective for AE in terms of baiting out those utilities. But right now, this dynamic duo between Kohaibi and Rue, is this still going to match what the team of AE has in store for them? Because Inari, she has a showstopper, but she's not going to use it just yet. She gets a kill towards Rue. But right now, it's going to be the showstopper against Kohaibi. But at least Ophelia makes it now a 5v3. Very winnable scenario now for AE. But Mochi, she's been the one guarding the B side, but not anymore because Inari gets the third. So Envious has this operator, but what can she do? This has been an ongoing battle between the two of them right now, but that's gonna be Tarathiel for the kill now. A 7-5 in favor of AE Celeste.
Although Renatus White have been putting up quite the fight, this is where we start to see them slip off. Inari just going in off of this showstopper. I mean, we said it all, Donut. She was stuck in that duel on towards A for the longest time. Meanwhile, the push was happening on B. And yet another problem that we kind of see coming in from Renatus White was the fact that they don't really swap the positions around all that much. And that means Alter Ego Celeste can read it clearly. They can exploit that fully. Of course they knew that MochiX was trying to anchor down the B side. Of course they knew she was somewhere around the back of the site itself. So now that was the end of the first half. We're swapping into the second, where Alter Ego Celeste get to defend. And this is what they were waiting for. That's why they have the double Sentinel, the double Controller. Can Renatus White break past this? Let's see. You've got Kohaibi going off of the boombot already, clear out ramps. Now they're pushing in towards A Heaven. No one's here to stop them for the time being, but the alarm bot has been triggered, so their positions are all known.
Yeah, and it's gonna be this double setup here towards the back of the side of A, but that's gonna be Rue and Kohaibi running them down. So now the spike is safely planted here, but Iceberg, she wants the revenge together with Tarathiel. At least Envious is holding down this angle, but it's gonna be Tarathiel. Timing though, at least Kohaibi gets that kill through the pixel of a space through that wall. And right now, it's just gonna be Iceberg alone in this situation. She does have armor built up around her, but is that gonna be enough? Because she knows at least that Rue is there. She knows as well that there's one towards the site. So what can she do? She's down to 73 HP. But the rest of the members of RTS knows that she may be in CT, but at least Iceberg gets a kill, and that's gonna be something valuable for them. But not the defuse though. AE lost that round, the pistol. So maybe RTS, pretty standard. If they do buy up, they can get this to a 7-7.
My God, they could, and it's certainly looking really, really possible. I mean, you see how Kohibi just goes in and does all of that. Classic right click to the face. And now they've got the Spectres. I don't know. Maybe Alter Ego Celeste should have just gone with. You know what? I'm not gonna say that, because normally I would have seen them on the Jet and Raze. They still got a chance. This is not over yet. But the Spectres from Renatus White are still so scary because Kohibi has them. And now it's going to be K for Deity. Oreophilia, what are you doing peeking that? She gets punished, and now B-side possibly weakened. Maybe even the rotations coming over. They're not really moving, not yet on the minimap at least. So Renatus White get to formulate a plan around this. Now they spot out Tarathiel. They're just going to dash in off of it anyway. Spectres all across the board. Can we run and gun all over this place? It's not going to be a yes because Tarathiel puts a stop to it. Aneri with her paint shells as well. She's got her shorty trying to jump shot around that one little box. Kohibi, she knows that they are there. She's got 2 blast packs. Are you going to do what I'm thinking of? Nah, I don't think so. She plays a lot safer than that right now. Wrapping around this pillar. She's looking for Tarathiel. Finally sees her, but she gets tagged up a little bit. Jumping click, it's not going to happen this time. No, sir. She takes her down, and that leaves Ayumi. Has a Bucky in hand, but has to deal with this wall up first. Knives it down, but that in all that time, Kohibi's already in the off angle. Easy spray. And Renatus White are bringing us back. It's the 7-7 that you predicted, Donut.
Yeah, 7-7, but it was quite costly for Renatus White. I mean, Tarathiel was just holding a classic. And also, Aneri was just holding a shorty, but they make it happen just by sheer utility. And I mean, this is going to be something that's scary for RTS, because if they continue on with these attacks without really having to think through what AE can do, then, I mean, they have to read this carefully, because right now they're on attack. They might have the advantage right now, but this is a bonus round, and AE, they have all the guns that they need to try and stop this attack.
Oh my God, on top of guns, I mean, look at this Poison Cloud. It's kind of a one-way as well. She's looking for their little feetsies. They're not going to show up, though. Not yet. They're waiting for it to dissipate, and there it is. Now are they going to peek? It's still not going to be good because you got Aneri watching the angle. She goes in for a little bit of a burst, but wow, Envy is playing off of her teammate, jump peeking it. She's going to go in for that, and taking down Aneri is incredible stuff, but still, all of a sudden, I thought Iceberg was going to do something, but Kohibi takes her down with the spray of a Spectre. Oreophilia holding the off angle, though, will be able to put a stop to that for the time being. Right now, Gravity Well sucking that turret away out of position. What they don't expect is going to be a Yumi with a Judge, though. Where did that Judge come from? She has been holding on to it around elbow. So even though they are on the side, they can't really get it planted safely. They got to worry about a Yumi who is just hiding in this one little corner. Get out of there. She wants to wall it off to block her away. Thankfully, does get in time, but one panel has been taken off. She got stunned for a time as well. Oh my God, and Tarathiel is just making mayhem on the A Heaven side. That leaves Rue alone, and of course, by her lonesome, she's not going to be able to do much. Oreophilia with the impact frags this time around, the triple to boot. It's going to be Alter Ego Celeste coming back in through the bonus round.
Yeah, I mean, the bonus round was supposedly RTS's because Envious and the rest of the team members were pulling off 6 shots. But again, Oreophilia making it happen as well for the rest of the team. And Tarathiel together with Oreophilia, how they really rammed down the site was just, what? Beautiful. Like, they had the numbers advantage, RTS did. But I mean, against the 3, it was Ayumi's Judge that really stopped them from getting that win.
I agree. I mean, they just didn't expect her to be in that corner at all, and she showed up at the best possible time. So now, no need for a judge anymore. I'm going to swap over to the Bulldog, of all things. I thought they might actually just go in with the full buy. Instead, it's going to be a Neri with the judge. And in this one spot, I mean, we saw it yesterday. She picked up a Quadra. She could do it again. But again, it depends on whether or not Renatus pushes into this. They are trying to bait out some peaks, but Alter Ego Celeste are not giving it to them. If I were Renatus, I would not push up mid anymore. I would try to find another opening pick somewhere else because this is incredibly precarious.
Yeah, I mean, and Neri, she's just waiting for that judge moment of a peak, right? So there are gonna be 3 people that might walk up, but it's gonna be Iceberg repositioning herself towards an A heaven, because right now there's nobody watching that, and the alarm bot of Ayumi is so far off, so that's the reason why there were the rotations from that Viper. But right now, she
30
does
seconds
give
left.
a little bit of a jiggle. Now she's hungry for that information, pulls out the boom bot, but not necessarily gonna get any information because that's gonna be shut down by Envious.
Okay, so Boombot gone. They know an area is there. Probably don't want to peek it. Instead, trying to find that opening pick towards A, but unfortunately that got denied early on by Ayumi. In fact, she gets a kill from her grave with the Nano Swarm. Iceberg going in off of this right now, and it's just even better. 2 frags, and all of a sudden the push has been dismantled. Mochi X couldn't even do anything at all from A ramps. Alter Ego Celeste. Could this be the start of their strong momentum? It's 9 and 7 now. It's still early, but look at how they're defending these sides,
10
Donut.
seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, how the utilities are placed as well for Ayumi, and right now, she does have that lockdown available for them to use for any retake that they need, and Tarathiel is just 1 orb away from getting that Cosmic Divide. So even if they do give that site away, they are well equipped for any type of retake. And right now, the team of RTS are also on a save, so they're gonna make this quick at least, given this mid control that AE are trying to pull off with that wall. It's not going to be enough because also there's a Neri, and as well as, I mean, if there was a dynamic duo between Rue and Kohaibi, there's also a Neri and Oreophilia here.
Oh yes, this tag team, it's been going on for the longest time. This time they're going up with the Sage utilities. I gotta ask chat, like, is Kohaibi better? Who's sharper, Neri or Kohaibi? Right now, I don't know, but it seems like Kohaibi is hungry for the frags. She's able to take the Iceberg down, and Neri as well. And Neri got a little bit too greedy, goes in for the peek, but thankfully to back her up, it's gonna be her sister, Oreophilia. Just playing off of contact, back to back. It doesn't matter if my teammates falls, because I'm there to pick them right up.
Yeah, and given all of those skills, Oreophilia also has that res available now for them. But the rest of the members of Renatus White, they have the lockdown, they have the showstopper, so they have everything that they need in terms of this entry. And as well as Envious with that Blade Storm, we've seen her do some awesome plays with the knives, and we want to see that here. It's gonna be maybe a B split right now, as we see the spike is hovering towards that B garage, but mid may not be as open as it can be because Iceberg with that Viper Spit.
You should run.
Wow.
Just really, wow. I mean, what even is this placement? Just because it's mid, it spills all the way across towards the bottom side of mid. I mean, it's even invading sewers a little bit, but still, it doesn't matter because they are just going to commit in towards the B side instead. The lockdown being deployed, now the showstopper, they're creating space. They're looking for a frag, but Neri denies the first one. Oh my god, the counter showstopper, Kohaibi! She's able to survive for the time being. She comes back in with a trade, but there it is, Tarathiel and then K4Daddy to fire back. Still though, the defending lockdown now gets deployed. Iceberg still somewhere towards mid to keep her Viper's Pit up alive. It's going to be the long rotation all across the spawn in towards A. And in all of that, Iceberg going in towards sewer. She definitely hears these footsteps. She could just come up with a big flag right now and stop the spike from even getting planted. She's being careful about it though. Coming up around, she spots the first player, and that's K4Daddy. Spike being dropped, and now they have the advantage. But Ayumi, getting a little bit adventurous, reveals herself towards the top of heaven. Mochi X shuts that down for now, and picking up the Spike. Shrouded steps in towards the site. Spike needs to be planted, but she's trying to find a safe spot to do it. In behind the spot of elbow, she will be able. No, she cut off his last second. What happened? Not like this. No, don't do that, Mochi X. Why?
No, maybe her number 4 was broken, but we don't necessarily know what happened. Because right now, I think Mochi what really wanted to do was to bait out the plant. Because she knows that Iceberg was there behind her. Nobody knew where Iceberg was, so that's the reason why she may have been coming from ramps. They never really knew, but Iceberg came from A main, so at least the first plant, if she did push through, that was such a winnable situation for Renatus White. But yeah, because they don't have any information, they doubted themselves.
That's
Oh no.
That's such a feels bad. I mean, we can try to theorize about why that could have happened, but I'm sure Mochi X is kicking herself right now, and I don't want that to happen. Mistakes do occur, and you know what? It's okay, because even if they lose this, they still have the lower brackets to go off of. Right now, the fact that they're putting up such a good fight against Alter Ego Celeste is already a big win in my eyes, but they still want more, and that is why we are supporting them. They are not giving up at all. This is sportsmanship, people. They're in towards mid, and they are trying to maybe find something, but Alter Ego Celeste, my god, these girls, they are playing so perfectly right now, not budging at all. In fact, just trying to wait for them to push past mailroom. You can even see the presence of that star right there, just to stop them if they do try to do anything. Even if Inari falls, it's all good. They finally spot a foot out, and instantly the gravity well goes off. Inari doesn't find anything just yet, though, but there it is, the instant trade. Kohibi is good for yet another, but Oreophilia makes it a trade as well, and then K490 comes in. The res! Oh my god, 4v3. Can Tarathiel actually stop this? I think she could. She's just trying to weave in and out of the pillar. Spots out Kohibi dropping down, but off of that little distraction, goes in for the peek, gets shut down, and then Iceberg comes back in, but Kohibi is already going to do so much damage. It's the Yahoo Thrifty, and Renatus White are not out, not just yet. It's not match point.
Right now, this was just really beautiful in terms of the response of Kohibi getting all of them, 3 of them, 4 of them there. It's just really, perfect timing for that push. And when you're peaking all 4, where do you really want to look at? And that was just the mere advantage of RTS for that specific round. That's why they got Thrifty, because they're playing together now. And this is maybe the response against AE. If we play together, if we do execute this as well as we did that Thrifty round, then maybe we can get this up and running again. The momentum up and running yet again.
I hear that sense of hope in your voice, Donut. I want to believe they are playing a lot more coordinated than before, and this is a very lovely new color on Renatus White, but they still have to be extremely cautious, extremely careful, because Iceberg has been allowed to sneak into this corner. Now she pushes out of the cloudburst, and Envious is gone! Not to mention Ayumi, who's hiding in that Astra Nebula with her judge. We saw how it happened earlier on. Is it going to happen again? I hope not. Renatus White sensing danger. They are going to back off. A rotation would be good, but where else could they possibly go? B worked out in the past round. Maybe they could do it again, but they have to first go past the 3 players on the site, Donut. 3 players.
Yeah, I mean, and how they would try and push through this, though. If there were 3, they need that paranoia from Mochi, but it was already exhausted, so they used the TP instead, and that's going to be shut down by Tarathiel. And using that gravity well to slow down the push here, even that wall is broken down, but at least Kohibi gets that entry kill. But right now, it's going to be Inari here waiting behind the box and shut down by Kohibi. And right now, that's going to be the Fade Shells. Perfect against Iceberg. Now she's down to 37 HP. It's a 3v4 right now, and I mean, Iceberg gets healed up, but is that gonna be enough? Because their post-plant positions are very, very vital here. There's a crossfire between Brew and as well as Mochi and K490. So any point of contact here, they're gonna get mowed down by RDS.
I have to agree. I mean, we asked that question, right? Is it gonna be enough? You know, they heal up. But look at how this whole thing is set up post-plan on the site. No chance. Alter Ego Celeste, they know it as well, so they're gonna back off. But wow! Rue even managing to catch a Yumi's back as she backs off of sight. This is incredible stuff. Renatus White are not backing down, not yet. In fact, the one thing that you gotta point out is the fact that, let's take a look at this. Kohibi, 27 frags all across the board. All of these frags, yes, they are multi. It's incredibly fun to watch. But look at how she uses utility. All of these things impact the round in incredible ways that you don't even conceive because they open up the site. They make it easier for Renatus to get the spike down. They make it more difficult for Alter Ego Celeste to retake just because the paint shells landed so nicely on A Heaven that Iceberg had no choice but to back off. And now, I mean, what's going to happen next, don't it?
Well, in terms of this play, though, they really want to fight for mid, but right now there are 3 people there in B Heaven. That's going to be Tarathiel, together with Aruphilia, and as well as Inari. That's going to be something scary, because right now, in terms of the utilities of Inari, she can exhaust that towards mid and maybe get that kill, but it's gonna be Kfredite getting a Yuumi. She didn't really think that Kfredite would be there, so she wanted to get that orb, but right now that's gonna be an open A site, but that's not where they're going. There's going to be this push towards mid, and Mochi already gets Tarathiel in that moment, so that's gonna be the paranoia play here towards B Heaven, but Iceberg is gonna get walled off, so the B site is open for business, and that's gonna be Envious there, pushing through that smoke to get that kill against Inari, and they bring it back down to a 2v5. This may be a flawless round for RTS, only if they hold it, because they're against Iceberg and Aruphilia.
You know, these girls can be sharp, Iceberg and Aruphilia, but I don't think, I mean, you saw how coordinated that push was, the paranoia play, and then the dash to follow that. Nah. Alter Ego Celeste, they have to respect it. They're going to back off and they're going to save because we are nearing the end of the game right now, 11-9. They cannot afford to just throw their guns away. This is a completely different Renatus White than compared to whatever we've seen before. They have strats, they have executes, and they manage to create so much space off of it that, you know what, Alter Ego Celeste, I think they just need to play full defense. We saw how the first couple frags of this round play out. It was a Yuumi as well as, I can't remember who, but somewhere towards mid. Someone got a little bit too eager. They danced in and out of cover, and then Renatus White just strikes them just like that. If they lose players early on, Alter Ego Celeste are going to struggle with the defense. They cannot let that happen.
Yeah, and I could remember, like, during the interviews that we had with AE when we reviewed what they were expecting or what their weakness is. They do have a weakness, and they mentioned that this was it. Okay, even if they were winning the rounds already, they sometimes do get over-eager, and they threw some of the rounds away. And that's what I think what happened during that last round, because they were so eager to get the kills already and get that win and get it over with. But it wasn't just enough. Now we have a technical pause here. I'm not so sure if it's for the side of AE and RTS, but what do you think about that? Do you think that AE was over-eager to get the kills just to get to match point?
I think they were a little bit eager, but you know what? The little birdie in my ear just tells us that, okay, it's a player from Renatus White that disconnected, so you're gonna have to hold on for that thought to the time for now, but it has happened before. Alter Ego Celeste, the goddesses that they seem they are, they have bled. Okay, the Legion of Valkyries tournament, Mad Army took them down 2-0. And I was a little bit curious, so I asked them, like, what happened in that game? How come you guys lost? You normally, beat every single player that you've gone against, but unfortunately, sometimes they do have weaknesses. Sometimes they get a little bit over-eager. They start to throw rounds. Maybe it's the emotions. Some other times, maybe they're just having an off day. And this could be one of those days. But you know what, Donut? You used to be an ex-professional, and I haven't really played professionally before, but I want to find out, like, how effective could it be to have that third person's perspective? Because both of these teams, as strong as they are, I mean, they've got Alter Ego, they've got Renatus representing them. They don't have coaches. They're playing this completely on their own.
Well, it's important to also have that coach just to get the morale up and coming. But I mean, with I can remember like another team did say that if there are pauses, then it's good to just keep the morale up so that you're a little bit motivated going into the next round. But right now, in terms of RTS, it does seem that they have better direction coming into this attacking rounds. I mean, the AE did have that lead, but since the sides have swapped, how they would execute the strats is just, I mean, it's just really clean and clear. And right now, how they would take mid in an orderly fashion. Okay, they would use a boombot first, and then that will be backed up by that dash, but that's going to be shut down now. I was initially their default push towards B, but that's going to be Tarathiel, and as well as Iceberg to get Rue out of the picture.
You should run.
It's not bad. I mean, they only have a couple of rifles. The rest are on Sheriffs and Ayumi on the Classic. But they still dare to go in for that early peak, taking Rue down. That means no more heals, no more slow orbs. So they're going to have to be careful still. Oh my god, the wallbang actually caught Tarathiel, and then Envious just pushes up front. This is incredible stuff. Renatus White are so aggressive right now that they are actually just playing off of each other. The showstopper and then the trades from Envious. The spike going down is even better, but oh no! Kfredine gets caught out from the other side of the pillar. It's all up to Envious, and she will finish this off with a quick quadra! Incredible! Just playing it so steadily, knowing that there could be a push. She just watches the angle.
What was that right now? RTS, they might have lost Rue in that picture, but that was just, what? A redemption round for them. Because right now, Envious is popping off as well. We've been talking about Ineri and as well as Kohaibi, but let's talk about Envious. She is doing her job quite well, and while there were some mistakes in the previous round, that round is such an impact for them because it equalizes the situation to an 11-11. And they have to work together just like they did that previous round to get that match point. So whoever, I mean, I'm not rooting for anybody else. I'm just really enjoying these intense gameplays by both of the teams.
Oh, I am with you on that, Donut. These games, I mean, the earlier one was so intense. This is pretty darn intense as well, and I did not expect it. Renatus White are actually doing so much damage, but they cannot afford to just slip up right now because 11-11. Anyone who loses this, it's going to be match point. Ayumi brought out an operator. That's something that we haven't seen yet. She had the judge. She has been using rifles. Now an operator? Oh my god, this girl's a Swiss Army knife. Whatever it is, though, it's still going to be Renatus White that pushes up in towards mailroom. And Kfredine getting the opening pick kind of allows them to go up in towards a heaven, excuse me. But somehow the snake bites just right around the edge will be able to burn down Envious. Still though, the split push is great because Kohaibi comes out from garage and instantly snapping onto heads. Iceberg's gonna snap onto heads too! Quick triple now. She's really low. No heals available. It's gonna be the spike plant. Is that a good idea? You got the lockdown coming in, and then Ineri strikes from that one spot. It's coming in from Spawn, not to mention Iceberg, who is still up on heaven. Yet another quadra to answer back to Envious's quadra earlier on. It's match point for Alter Ego Celeste.
Match point? I mean, I thought it was RTS's game already, but because Envious did get that first kill and Iceberg did respond with that beautiful snake bite, though. She was 10 HP, that's why she died to that. But it's gonna be just Iceberg, the wall. I recall we did say something about a pun for Iceberg. Can you tell the audience what we said, given that play?
The Iceberg crashes, you know, kind of like Titanic, the little boat. No, I don't know. It should happen, but let's see. There is still hope for Renatus White yet because they have the weapons. They won the previous rounds. They have the economy, and right now, Kfredine just blind spraying into that Viper Spit. Actually took Ineri down. Should be able to spray into it again because of the res, but oh my god, Ayumi actually locking down mailroom. This is incredible. Ayumi used to play Jet. she sometimes swaps around, maybe an initiator, or we saw her in KO earlier on. This time she's on a sentinel, and she's still landing shots. Kfredite, though, even better, will be able to delete that Viper's Pit. So now A is somewhat of a viable option for Renatus White.
Yeah, even though that rest came in, they're down to 2 players, and Ophelia, she knows that something is up here because they just spotted out Cape Aphrodite over there. So they're really guarding this A site. But right now, the rest of the team members of RTS, they're flocked out here towards mid. So there's not been a decision just yet. So they just really slow down, deny any information for them. But it's going to be Aphrodite here, just trying to get that opportunity play for the team.
Opportunity. You see this op shot going off, and now it's going to connect down towards Mochi. Kohibi going in for the double, but unfortunately continuing to push past it is going to be Tarathiel that trades it out. They need to get the spike down because there's only 10 seconds left on the clock, and Neri trying to put a stop to it with her paint shells, but unfortunately it only means that Rue will run out of that corner. Now holding elbow, 2v2, anything can happen. Alter Ego Celeste could win it, or we could go into overtime. Rue watching Heaven, trying to be careful about her peaks. They've got to consider elbow as well, and now that Gravity Well sounds it off, it's gonna be a Neri! She just comes out with a swing off that Gravity Well and quickly takes 2 kills, even alive at 3 HP, the defuse, and then 13-11. Alter Ego Celeste closes out again. So close, Donut, so close.
Heart was racing because I was expecting it to be overtime, but Ineri makes it happen. That beautiful Nova pulse at the very end given by Tarathiel made it really happen for Ineri to get that 2K. And right now, I mean, that was just really circling them around that site, really getting that pincer mode on. And that's why Ineri did get that 2K at the very end. I mean, it wasn't a clutch moment, but they definitely deserved that Nano Leaf clutch for both Ineri and Tarathiel.
It's just, we see these clutches, we see these secret lab flawlesses. Both teams, I don't care who wins. I'm okay, yeah, we know Alter Ego Celeste won, but both teams have won in my eyes because Renatus White just showing how strong they are now with this reformed roster, whether or not they subbed in Rue for a legit queen. They are taking these games so far into its 13-11. In the past, we had games where it was just an open 6. Alter Ego Celeste took Breeze 13-5, Split 13-5. This time, 13-11. Even though Alter Ego Celeste won, Renatus White are just even better than before. Even better than before.
Yeah, and well, right now, I mean, Renatus White has always been in that top 3 spot. But what happened in the last 2 games, we would want to ask our panel. So we will go into a short break and we will be right back.
Hi everyone, I'm here with Alter Ego Celeste Tarathiel for today's final post-match winner interview brought to you by Nanoleaf. Tarathiel, congrats on winning today's series. Did you expect the 2-0?
Yeah, I expected the 2-0.
You and the rest of your team?
Yeah.
All right, nice. A lot of confidence coming straight out the gate. So, I mean, it definitely, the scoreline did end up to be a 2-0, but I mean, it wasn't really like a one-sided series. I want to say, especially like we saw Haven as well, which is pretty much Renatus White's map. They did very well on that one. Split also, they gave you girls a lot of trouble. So I wanted to ask about that because a lot of people going in thought that Renatus White's best map was Haven, and that after a Celeste beats them on Haven, there wouldn't be all that much to play for, but game 2 was so close as well.
Yeah.
Could you just explain what happened on Split?
I think that was kind of my bad because I wasn't really hitting my shots as an anchor, so like it was kind of hard for my team to retake it. I think that was on me. Split was on me. We should have, I think for me, I think we should have won a little bit faster.
Mm. So for Haven, when you girls were playing in that map one as well, especially when it almost looked as if Renatus White was going to win, what was the team mentality like? Like, did you girls get nervous at all? Did it start to throw you off your game, or how did you girls like just encourage yourselves back?
At first, at first again, I wasn't really feeling it. But then, like in T side, I don't know. I was very confident that we'll win in T side because after all the practices, I think I'm more confident in our T side rather than our CT side. That's what our scream results has been. So even losing 8-4, I'm still sure that we'll win the map.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw once the swap happened, like your team was just bang on. My next question that I wanted to ask is that with today's win, AE Celeste is going to go up versus Mad Army next Saturday. Also, your team lost to them, I think it was last month, so pretty
Yeah.
recently in the Lenovo Legion of Valkyries tournament. So, how confident is the team that you're going to have to face Mad Army again?
We had a bit of a problem during the last tournament that we lost to Mad Army. Our team comps weren't really, in sync, and then like Iceberg was also lagging. So I think like it's kind of an unlucky game. But I didn't feel like we lost, like really lost. It was just unlucky. I feel like, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm not saying that they're not good, but they're really really good. But then it's just like I feel like my team is better.
That brings us to our next question, because most of the teams in FSL look up to Alter Ego Celeste and kind of view your team as their rivals. Whenever we ask the other teams during their interviews, which team is your rival, they're like, oh, it's AE Celeste for sure. So I wanted to ask, for Alter Ego Celeste, is there one team that maybe you think of as your rivals, or do you just think that in this league, your team's just straight up unrivaled?
No, Mad Army definitely got my respect. Yeah, they're really really good.
Nice. So my very last question, is Alter Ego Celeste going to win FSL Elite?
I hope so. I hope so. I really wish we do. I'm just gonna pray for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it definitely looks like you girls have showed up strong for sure, and also 6 open wins. Definitely nothing to snuff at. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Terathio. Thank you so much for the interview. Once again, congratulations for securing your spot in next Saturday's upper bracket semifinals. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Quack and Donut. Welcome back to the post-match analyst desk. We just saw Alter Ego Celeste knock Renatus White down to the lower bracket. I mean, the maps were close, but stats don't lie. It was still a 2-0 at the end of the day. How do we feel about that one?
Well, I admire the confidence that Tarathiel did mention earlier, and they have one team to watch out for, which is Mad Army, and they're going up against Mad Army in this specific bracket. So, but right now, I think Renatus White did such a good job in terms of really responding well to the plays that for the team for the team plays that AE were showing up. It's just really that Tarathiel, she mentioned she wasn't hitting her shot, and that's gonna be something that's not necessarily convertible, but at least the rest of the team members, such as Eneri and Ayumi, they were really popping off for the team.
I mean, I kind of like that ownership. Not every leader does that. Sometimes if you lose or something, then you start blaming your teammates. Tarathiel's not that kind of person. I mean, look at how adorable she is. And if you're wondering what that cage is in the background, it's for her rabbits. But here it is, the statistics. I mean, I think it speaks for itself. Both sides were incredibly strong. It's just that, like Tarathiel said, she thinks her team is better.
Yeah, in terms of the stats though, we could really see here that the combat score is 373 for Kohaibi, but the rest of the team members, they also have 256 and up. I mean 200 plus. So it's gonna be up to the balance of how the team's performance will be, and AE clearly has that in this picture.
Yep, just some absolutely insane stats right there. I think Kohibi as well, fragging her heart out with that 33 bomb over on Haven, which is just absolutely insane, especially when your team doesn't win. Like, to have that type of scoreline when your team loses is just absolutely mind-blowing. But their damage, 16.8 to 14.8, of course, in favor of AE Celeste. And that headshot percentage, one of the highest we've seen today. Usually we see about like 25%. It's already a pretty good number, but close to 30% for the squad of AEC is just showing that, at the start of the round, they're the ones picking up those entry frags, which just makes it so much easier for them to play through the rest of the game. I wanted to take a moment to also just talk a bit about Kohibi, because even though RTS dropped this series versus A Celeste, I mean, this girl, she's been fragging her heart out. Just a few months ago, she was saying that, she felt that she'd kind of lost her form a bit, and she missed the old days where she had the confidence to just jump into ranked and insta-lock a duelist. But today, it definitely looks like she's back. I mean, what do we think about her performance today?
Well, we saw Kohibi really pop off as that raise for the team, and especially now, as that raise, she's not just the MVP for the team, but she's also the match MVP, having a 358 combat score. So that is just really sweats for this specific matchup for Split, and that's quite similar to how we did see in Haven, because she was also the MVP. But I have to also give it back to Ineri, because right now, looking at the stats though, the damage is 16.9k. What can you say about this, Key? Quack, sorry.
It's Q and Q. It's happened before.
They're the
Q
yeah,
cuties.
it's the QQ combo. It happens.
It happens. Do we even? I try to coordinate my outfits with it sometimes, but you know what? I think it speaks for itself. Like, you see the stats. It often is Alter Ego Celeste kind of coming out on top. Kohibi is fragging out of her mind. I mean, fragging her heart out of her mind. It's incredibly high numbers that she puts up there. It's just that, she's the only one kind of getting those. The rest of the team are there to support her, and they're trying to do that as well. But unfortunately, compared to the, I guess, kind of like fragging potential that Alter Ego Celeste has all across the board, Renatus aren't not quite there yet. So, they need to practice a little bit more, perhaps, but you can see that they are actually starting to get there. The strategies that they've got, especially on Split, we're seeing them go in with these coordinated pushes that we never really quite saw before.
Yeah, and it's great that you brought that up, because the next thing that I want to talk about is that for every single other team still left in FSL Elite, which is 5 of them, looking at this series, what can they take away from this? Because AEC seem to show some chinks in their armor. I mean, for the rest of the teams, how do they take AEC down? Is it they pick up Haven, or even on Split, as you mentioned, they look beatable at some points too. What can the other teams do?
No, I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Sorry, you want to go on like a head-to-head, just straight up mechanics versus AE Celeste? Is that your game plan, Quack?
No. I take that back.
Well, they did show a little bit of mortality for the past 2 days that we've seen them. TC Arise getting up a little bit at the top of the scoreboard against them in the map of Icebox. But right now, also in Haven and also in the Split, they do show a little bit of weakness. So I guess that's one thing that the teams could really look out and nitpick when they assess the strats, because of course they have another week left to reassess and reset their thinking in terms of maybe going against AE Celeste.
I just want to go real quick and say that, maybe it is the weaknesses. Maybe it is some maps like, say, for example, Haven, which, according to our statistics, Alter Ego Celeste don't really play that much of. They usually try to ban it out. But I also think that it's actually the other teams kind of catching up to them. In the past, it was just quick one-sided matches, perhaps. Alter Ego Celeste is that strong. But now these other teams are stepping up to the plate as well. They are actually grinding really hard just to match Alter Ego Celeste in terms of whether, raw skill, raw aim, but also really the strategies. I mean, we're seeing all these different teams, Mad Army, Nigma Galaxy, Renatus White, even TC Arise and all the rest of them. They are trying to find different ways to play the game. They're innovating, and that is really, really, really enjoyable for all of us here at FSL.
Yep, for sure. And talking about all of the other teams, guys, we're going to take a look at the schedule and the brackets from this last weekend of the play to see which teams are left and how they shook up. So we've got a total of 6 teams still left in the competition, of course. Unfortunate that Arca Arresta as well as Big Scythe are already out after losing their BO3 series earlier today, but we've still got some pretty good teams, the best of the best, still left in this one. Looking forward to next week. We are going to have Renatus White versus BLT Asteria and Enigma Galaxy versus TC Arise playing early on in the day.
Yeah, it was such a sad moment for Big Scythe to really be dropped off. And Arcat Arresta against Arise, actually, they did really show up. It's just that it wasn't enough in terms of the effort. But right now, we're seeing now the best of the best in this bracket, and it's gonna be something exciting for the next week.
I mean, some new teams here and there, VLT Asteria really showing up. But they're going to have to go in for that little rematch. They talked about that they have some kind of beef, or, well, not really beef, but they've got rivalry against Nigma Galaxy, and they're going to get that second chance. If they can make it past it, then this is going to be a whole different VLT Asteria, different potential. They are so strong. But if they don't, then, it's kind of history repeating itself. Who knows what's going to happen? But, of course, talking about, TC Arise versus Renatus White, we're going to see how that pans out. I'm not too sure. It could be different, but, of course, I think it's an opportunity for TC Arise to show up in this bracket because we don't really see them that often. The biggest one, though, of course, upper bracket final. Mad Army, Alter Ego Celeste. The two biggest teams in this entire circuit. I mean, Mad Army, they kind of fell out for a bit, disbanded or something, and then they reformed now with the addition of Ginny and all that fun stuff. I mean, we saw that Nigma Galaxy Mad Army game. 2 maps, 2 overtimes, and even one going into OT5, quintuple overtime. Like, what's going to happen against Alter Ego Celeste? Is it going to be overtime as well? What do you guys think? I can't wait for next week. I can't wait.
I mean, I'm just sitting here wondering how this content is even free to begin with. I feel like I should be paying to watch these games. Like, get me some popcorn, put this on like the big screen. I would go to the movies to watch this any day of the week. But as you mentioned, definitely the highlight of next week is going to be that Mad Army versus AEC on Saturday afternoon. And that could also potentially, depending on how that one goes and how the rest of the lower bracket shapes up, it could also be Sunday's grand final as well. So I'm hyped.
I definitely agree. I mean, big hype as well for the ladies who just really clawed their way out of the lower brackets, right? So right now, it's going to be just really the best of the ladies here in Southeast Asia, and I am as well excited. Big hype for these ladies.
Alright guys, that's it for us for today of the Valorant Champions Tour Southeast Asian Series FSL Elite, brought to you by Sponsors Intel, supported by Secret Lab, Nanoleaf, and also official media partner Yahoo. We'll be back next week to see which team finally takes the FSL crown after nearly an entire year of circuit play. If you guys want to see how women in esports are changing the game, then we'll see all of you back here again next week. Bye!